Before you decide to move to Colorado, let me tell you what you should know first. And I'm not talking about the usual stuff like elevation or how dry it is. You already know that from all the other videos out there. I want to talk about the things that might surprise you a little bit. Like one of them toward the end of the video has to do with how people celebrate New Year's Eve in Colorado. Yes, New Year's Eve, and it's definitely not what most people expect. So I want to walk you through the 5 pros and the 5 cons of living in Colorado, but more from what it actually feels like day-to-day perspective. Hi, I'm Ewelina, and together with my husband Simon, we have buyers and sellers all across the Denver metro area, and we've been here for over 25 years. So this is home for us. And I actually moved here from a different country, so I've gone through that whole experience myself. And there were definitely a few things that surprised me in the beginning. All right, let's get into it. Pro number 1, living where people vacation. Well, first of all, let's just start with this. Colorado is a destination. Like people from other states, even from other countries, they come here for vacation. Summer, winter, all year. In the summer, it's hiking, national parks, state parks, lakes, all of that. In the winter, it's skiing, snowboarding, all the mountain towns. You got places like Vail, Breckenridge, Keystone, and from Denver, you're really not that far. Usually like an hour, maybe 2, depending where you go. And then you're living here, and that's just normal for you. You're driving and the mountains are just there. You go for a walk and somehow you're already on a trail. Weekends don't have to be this big plan. You can just go. And it's not something you only do once in a while. It kind of becomes part of your routine without even trying that hard. Even people who didn't really do much outside before, after some time in Colorado, they start being outside more, hiking more, just doing things differently. And I think that's part that stands out. For a lot of people, this is a destination, and for you, it's just everyday life. Pro number 2, the weather is better than most people expect. Most people, when they think Colorado, they picture snow, cold, long winters. And yes, that does happen, but not in the way people expect. Like for example, in Denver, you might not even see that much snow some winters. But then you drive an hour and a half into the mountains to places like Vail or Breckenridge, and there's snow the whole season. So it really depends where you are. And we get a lot of sun here, like over 300 days, which surprises almost everyone. It can snow one day and the next day it's sunny, blue skies, and most of it, it's already melting. So you don't really get stuck in those long gray stretches. And then in the summer, it can get hot in Denver, but you drive 30 to 40 minutes, change elevation a little, and suddenly it's cooler. You're in the mountains, completely different feel. So you kind of get a little bit of everything here, depending on where you go. And I think that's what people don't always expect at first, but end up really liking. Pro number 3, national and international travel is just easier. This one might not sound that exciting at first, but it actually makes a big difference. Getting in and out of Colorado is just easy. Denver has a really big airport, DIA. It's actually one of the largest airports in the world by land size, and it's set up as a major hub, so there are a lot of direct flights, including international. And because of how it's built with longer runways and a lot of open space around it, it handles weather pretty well compared to other places. So even in the winter, things don't shut down as easily as people expect. And you don't really think about any of this until you need to travel. Then you realize you can get to a lot of places without connecting. You're not dealing with complicated routes. It's just more straightforward. So whether you travel often or you just want the option to go visit family or take a trip without it turning into a whole process, it's one of those things that quietly makes life easier here. Pro number 4, strong job market and opportunity. Work is another reason a lot of people end up in Colorado. There are a few big industries that are really strong, and healthcare is one of them. You got major systems like UC Health, Denver Health, and Anschutz Medical Campus. So there are a lot of hospitals, specialists, and opportunities here. Tech is also big, especially around Denver and Boulder, with a mix of larger companies and startups. Aerospace and defense are also a big part of Colorado's economy. We have major employers like Lockheed Martin, and in Colorado Springs, the Air Force Academy and nearby military bases create a strong military and defense presence. And construction is another one, just because of how much growth Colorado has had over the years. So people are moving here for jobs, but also a lot of people are bringing their jobs with them now. Remote work made that reality common. They want the Colorado lifestyle, but they're still working for a company somewhere else. And then you also see people starting their own thing, businesses, brands, just creating something for themselves. So it's kind of a mix. You get opportunities if you're looking, but also flexibility if you already have something. And that's what makes it work for a lot of people. Pro number 5, active, health-focused culture. Another thing you start to notice pretty quickly when you live in Colorado is how active people are. You'll see people running, biking, hiking, going to the gym, but also skiing in the winter, mountain biking in the summer. And it's actually kind of funny because after a while, you realize you probably know at least a few people training for a marathon or doing triathlons. It's just normal here. And being around that kind of environment, it starts to pull you into it without you even trying that hard, even if that wasn't your thing before. And it's not just the activities, it shows up in everyday life too. When you go out to eat, a lot of places have healthy options, organic, gluten-free, that's just standard. You don't even have to look for it. And you'll also notice a lot of people focus on wellness in general. Yoga, meditation, even energy healing. Things you don't always see as much in other places, but here it's pretty common. And then there are little random things that surprise people too. For example, Colorado has one of the highest numbers of certified scuba divers. I know, it sounds weird because you don't think about scuba when you think about Colorado, but to me, it kind of shows how active and adventurous people are. So between the weather, the access to everything outside, and just the culture, it becomes a lot easier to stay active and take care of yourself without really thinking about it. Okay, quick pause here. If you're watching this and starting to think, okay, Colorado might actually be a place I could see myself living in, I did put together a relocation guide that goes a little deeper into what day-to-day life looks like here. It's not about buying or selling, it's just things people wish they knew before moving. Areas, lifestyle, what to expect. It's free and I will link it below in the description. Okay, let's keep going. Con number 1, cost of living is higher than expected. So let's talk about cost because this is usually the biggest surprise for people. Especially in the Denver metro area, it has gotten expensive. Home prices have gone up a lot over the years, rent too, and even everyday things like groceries or going out, you just pay more. And I've seen it change a lot over the time I've been here. It's gotten to a point where for some people, buying a home is just not as easy as it used to be. You'll see homes around $1 million in Denver, and they're not even anything super high-end in certain neighborhoods. But at the same time, it really depends where you are. If you go north to Fort Collins or south to Colorado Springs or even Pueblo, it can be a lot more affordable. And then of course, if you go into the mountains, those are more like resort areas, so prices go up again. And because of that, you also see the other side of it. Some people who have owned here for a while are selling, cashing out and moving to other states where they can get a lot more for the same amount of money. So it really goes both ways. It's not that there are no affordable options, you just have to know where to look and what to expect going into it. Con number 2, population growth. Another thing you start to notice after living here for a while is just how many people have moved to Colorado. There's been a lot of growth over the years, especially from states like California and other places. Areas that used to feel quieter are busier now, more traffic, more people everywhere you go. And it shows up in different ways, like even something as simple as camping. If you want to get a spot at some of the more popular places, you're not just showing up anymore. You're making reservations months in advance, sometimes 6 months out. You have to set reminders so you can book the moment it opens, because everyone else is trying to do the same thing. That used to not really be an issue. For me personally, I've been here for over 20 years, so I'm used to it, or it doesn't really bother me. But I do hear it a lot, especially from people who have lived here even longer. Even in the comments sometimes, people will say it feels overcrowded compared to how it used to be. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, it just changes the feel of certain areas. If you're expecting something super quiet or less crowded, that's not always the reality anymore in a lot of places. Con number 3, traffic. And this kind of goes back to what I just mentioned about population growth. There are just a lot more people here now, and you feel it when you're driving. Traffic is definitely something you're going to notice, especially around the Denver area. What looks like a quick drive on the map can look a lot longer depending on the time of the day. But where people really feel it is with mountain traffic. Like if you're thinking, oh, I'll just go skiing this weekend, or let's go camping, you're not the only one with that idea. And suddenly, what should be an easy drive turns into sitting in traffic with everyone else heading the same direction. So while everything might look close, the actual experience can be very different. It's not a deal breaker for most people, you just kind of learn to plan around it. But it's definitely something to be aware of. Con number 4, competitive housing market. So this is more from a buyer perspective. And yes, I did list this as a con, but just to give you a little bit of a context, I'm recording this in May 2026, and the market is a little bit different for buyers right now. There's more inventory, things are not moving quite as fast across the board, but what's interesting, that doesn't apply everywhere. There are still certain areas like Littleton, Highlands Ranch, Golden, or even some of the more well-known neighborhoods in Denver like Wash Park, people want to be there. And in those areas, if a home is nice and priced well, you're still going to see multiple buyers and competition. So it's kind of a mixed market right now. Some areas feel more balanced, a little easier to navigate, and others still move quickly. So if you're coming here thinking you'll have unlimited time to decide, that's not always the case. You still need to be prepared, especially if you're targeting those more popular locations. Con number 5, it's not a big nightlife state. This one really depends on what you're looking for. But Colorado is not a big nightlife state. A lot of people move here for the outdoor lifestyle, skiing, hiking, camping, all the sports and everything that comes with being outside. And that really becomes a big part of how people spend their time. So naturally going out is a little different here. For example, in Denver, there are good restaurants, there are places to go out, you can definitely socialize, but it's not the same as bigger cities like New York or Chicago. It's not as late, not as busy, and overall, it's just more relaxed. And I'll be honest, for me, that was a bit of a shift at first. I came from Poland, from Europe, where going out looked very different. Dressing up, meeting friends, walking places, not really thinking about driving everywhere, and here, it's just a different lifestyle. It's more casual, more low-key, and you're usually getting in the car to go somewhere. This is how it is. And yes, here you might be celebrating New Year's at 10 p.m., not midnight. A lot of events and bigger venues in Colorado do an early countdown, especially if they are more family-friendly. And for a lot of people, that's exactly what they like about it. But if you're expecting that more traditional city nightlife, it can feel a little different once you're here. So those are the 5 pros and the 5 cons of living in Colorado. And like anything, some of these are going to matter more to you, some maybe not at all. It really just depends on what kind of lifestyle you're looking for. If this helped you, please like the video and subscribe. I share a lot about Colorado and the different areas around, so you can actually get a feel for what it's like living here. If you have questions, you can always drop them below. I do read them, and it really helps me decide what to film next. And if you're thinking about making a move, feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to talk through your situation and help you figure out what makes the most sense for you.